It's so good to see everybody, isn't it? I miss you guys so much. But I digress. This is a temporary experience, and now I need to get into my talk energy. So the May theme this month is Listen to Your Heart, and today's title is The Great Work of Your Life. So what is your Dharma? Do you know what your Dharma is? It is discovering your life's purpose. It's uncovering your sacred gift, your sacred talent, and the reason for you being born right now at this time, at this place, into this experience. It's your sacred contribution to the world. We each have it. You couldn't have been born without it. So what is your zone of genius? You know, we each have a zone. You know, when you're in the zone, well, we need to move into a place where we can live in the zone. What is your area of expertise? We each exist and have come into being at this time so that the divine spark that we are, the fire, the impulse, and our creativity may continuously be expressed and not limited. We each are uniquely poised to express our special gifts, talents, strengths that only we have. It is this call of life to itself that seeks expression of itself in new and fresh ways, and we're tasked with answering that call with no limitations. Because when deep calls unto deep, deep answers. Have you ever gotten the call? I know that if you've ever considered practitioner studies or possibly ministerial studies, or possibly just felt like there was something more that you should be doing, you have gotten a call. In Matthew 22:14, it says, "Many are called, but few are chosen." And I'd like to take a little liberty and change that a little bit metaphysically to, I say, all are called, but few choose to answer that call. I don't think anyone is not called. I think that we just make a decision whether we heed it or not. And I would encourage you to heed the call if you've gotten one, because the infinite doesn't stop calling until you answer the call. And then when you're in direct alignment with your purpose, something happens. There's something within each one of us, a divine spark, a divine urge that is waiting to be birthed, unleashed, and let loose in the world that not only makes our heart sing, but it brings a sacredness to our work and all that we do. That truly is our Dharma in form. So why are you here? Like that, why are you here? Only you can answer that. It's not something that your parents said, well, you should be this. It's not something your neighbor said, oh, you'd be great at this. Or maybe one of your loving teachers said, you should go into this field. It's the field that you feel most comfortable in. And maybe you've denied it your whole life, and that's okay, because it's never too late to reach into your Dharma. Listen to that call and pull it forward. We are each called to live a holy, fulfilling life, and we actively live this as we move in the direction of our divine urge. And again, I would invite you not to run too far from your divine urge, because your divine urge can run faster than you can. I know. I ran for a long time. So here's a couple ideas about the zones of expression to consider. You may have heard this in different ways about different levels of consciousness, but this one is called the zones of expression. And to fully express our own gifts and talents, we must be willing to move out of our comfort zones. So there are 4 zones in which we may express. I'll call this zone number 1, and I'm calling it incompetence. Now, this isn't a derogatory, this is just being real. And these are activities that you are not good at. Like me, that would be me being a brain surgeon. I'm not good at that, okay? That's not my Dharma. That's what I mean by this zone of incompetence. That's not something I have a competency at or have been called to do in this lifetime. And that's okay, because that leads us to zone 2, the zone of competency. Activities you're competent at, but others can do them just as well. And I would call like that, if you know how to drive a car and you're competent at it, and I'll let you make that decision. I won't judge your driving. But a lot of us know how to drive, which moves us to zone 3, the zone of excellent. Activities that you do extremely well and can make a living at doing it if you choose. This zone is seductive in that we might remain in that zone a little beyond our comfort zone because we feel that we're okay because we're providing for ourselves, but it's not necessarily the reason that you have come into manifest form in this lifetime, which I will invite you all to this zone 4, and that's the zone of genius. It's the set of activities you are uniquely suited to do. This zone liberates and expresses your divine genius. Only you know what that is. Only you know when you're in that zone, and that is what we're all reaching for. So staying in a safe, comfortable, like zone 3 of being just competent enough to get yourself by, it's a comfortable zone, but it's not uncovering your sacred work. It may lead you towards it, but we need to move into that zone 4. The zone 3 is not why we came here. Now, we may need to play in these other zones at times to reveal zone 4 for us. This is in a book called Love and Law. And this says, spirit is in every living thing. It is in every soul, latent, simply waiting to be brought forth and come through the avenue we express. It is to bring out these great realities of life and happiness, health, love, and power, to supply these things that make life worthwhile. In the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, they say, the goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal. It is to find and fully use your sacred gift. So what's your sacred gift? And if you don't know what it is, that's okay. Maybe this experience in life is to lead you towards it. And in Know Yourself, the insistent and universal desire for self-expression is the divine urge within us, even God itself, tapping at the walls of our heart, urging us on to a fuller life. I would invite you that it's time to take that big leap. You know, what are we waiting for? And I'm not going to answer that for you, but I know that something is happening in the world. Something is shifting us and inviting us to a higher resonance. So moving into your zone of genius, have you gotten to a place where you can almost sleepwalk through everything that you do in the day? That's just an indicator that there's a new level of understanding to get to. I'm not going to talk that anybody isn't where they're supposed to be. That's only talk that you can have with yourself and say, you know, what is my zone of genius? And listen, when you ask the infinite what your zone of genius is, you may be surprised at what the answer is, but follow that energy. Follow it back to yourself. Most people justify why they can't take their big leap and move into their zone of genius. You know, if it weren't for fill in the blank, I could be doing what I really want to do. You know, if I were older or younger or taller or shorter or more attractive or richer, or if you knew my ex-wife, or if you had the upbringing I did, whatever, fill in the blank. Whatever your reason for not moving into that zone, why don't you put that aside for just a second and pretend that you are fully fulfilled? What do you feel like? What do you look like? What does your genius have for breakfast tomorrow morning? In your zone of genius, you don't feel like you're working. Time feels completely different. You are in your life's work and contributing in such a sacred way that the calling of life and you fit into one energy. And I think you know what I'm talking about when you've been in the zone. Maybe you were dancing, or you were playing an instrument, or maybe you were doing your taxes, or for whatever it was for you. You fell into harmony with the universe in such a grandiose way that everything came together. So in conclusion, what is the great work of your life? Why are you here? There is this divine urge within each of us, a sacred calling, and it beckons you with increasingly strong calls as you go through life. Commit yourself to uncover your zone of genius. Commit to taking the quantum leap out of your comfort zone and into your greatest yet to be. This is why you're here. And this is why we're here. We're calling you up. We're calling you forward. Now's the time. Please don't wait. And so it is. Well, it's time now for our prayer for the divine genius that you are. So let's just take a moment and take a breath. And let's remember what we choose to believe the power of the infinite is for you. You get to call it anything you want. You get to make it up. You get to connect right here and right now with what you choose to be, do, and have. But I know that as that genius zone is activated, that something powerful moves within each one of us. That there is a power that heals, that reveals, that brings consciousness, that brings the connections in life that leads us to our greatest yet to be. I now speak my word with and for each person who chooses to believe that they are here for a reason, and that reason is identified in a gentle and loving way that makes sense, is identifiable, and leads you into the very essence of why you came to this plane of existence. I want to say a prayer for our first responders, the people who are out on the front lines right now doing the work of healing, be it physical or metaphysical, the light workers, all the people that step forward while other people are stepping back to bring a healing, to bring the energy of love, life, and wisdom into their greatest yet to be. We give great thanks. I know that this time is an interesting time. So we step away from whatever confusion and we turn around and look into the light, not to deny the confusion, but not to give it any more power. We step into harmony, into divine right action, into love, and into peace. How good it is to know that something powerful is happening by means of each one of us. And we allow that to happen. So I give great thanks in this moment for each individual who is on this call, on this video, or going to be watching this later. You are a genius, and your time is now. And I call you forth, love. I call you forth, divine, infinite creator of all genius, into this moment. So I am blessed. And I bless this time, this space, and this place. How good it is to know that something awesome is happening by each one of us. So I release this word into the living, loving law of mind, where I know it returns to us full, filled to overflowing, as we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Amen.